told Foxy it's your birthday, not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
Good evening and welcome to our July edition of Moana Nui After Dark presents Geek Speak On Sports. I am James, once again joined by Furious. How are you doing, sir?
You know what? I'm actually pretty good. I have to remember, channel the anger, channel the rage, and it turns into fuel.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one tonight. Ain't going there.
But we will.
I mean, we will. Yeah. And you know what? I figured, because it was a hard place to try to figure out where to start our discussions for the evening. We will be joined by Miss Qiana later on this evening. Hopefully Candaysee pops in and joins us. I'm not holding my breath. We miss you, Candaysee. I was going to mess with you tonight, but I'll save it for next month. Let's go ahead and start with some NFL news, because nothing's really going on. There's, mini camps just ended a couple of weeks ago. We got about another 2-ish weeks before training camps start going into August and preseason. And the news cycle's pretty much lax. There's no player movement worth discussing. The rules we already talked about last month from the competition committee and everything that happened out of that. But season 2 of Quarterback dropped on Netflix yesterday. And I know you haven't had a chance to watch it, but I did.
Yeah.
And if you watch season 1, the general consensus around everyone who watched season 1 was, we should root for Kirk Cousins. He's a good guy. He's a family man. He seems very down to earth. He's a well-grounded individual.
That's a dumb reason to pick a quarterback.
Had nothing to do with picking the quarterback. It just, he became the media darling for that upcoming season. Everyone started cheering for him.
That's fine, but I'm willing to bet that was factored in to my team doing one of the dumbest things I've ever seen them do.
Well, like I said, season 2 of Quarterback dropped yesterday, and lo and behold, Kirk Cousins was back again for season 2. 2 years later. And season 2 this time, Joe Burrow and Jared Goff of the Bengals and Lions, respectively, were also followed throughout the season. But instead of just jumping right in from the beginning of the 2024 season and going forward, they go back and pick up where each of those 3 quarterbacks' 2023 seasons ended, going into the offseason as far as whatever was going on. With Joe Burrow, it was him rehabbing from his injury from the Thursday night game against the Baltimore Ravens where he hurt his wrist. Good evening, Candaysee. How are you doing?
Candaysee!
I don't know if my mic is working, is it?
Your mic is working. We can hear you. So Joe Burrow, his wrist injury. We're talking about Quarterback season 2 on Netflix right now. Yeah, season 2 came out yesterday. So like I said, Joe Burrow recovering from his wrist injury and his offseason workout going into the 2024 season was part of episode 1. Jared Goff, the Lions season ending against the 49ers in the NFC title game and what he meant to that city with the draft happening in Detroit, him meeting Eminem, his offseason going into the beginning. That was all of his stuff for episode 1. And then there was Kirk Cousins, who, if you don't remember, in the middle of the 23 season, ruptured his Achilles while playing for the Minnesota Vikings. Went to the offseason, final year of his contract. It was going to expire. Was trying to figure out where he was going to sign. Wanted to stay in Minnesota, didn't want to leave Minnesota. Minnesota told him the best they could do is re-sign him on a year-to-year basis. For those who don't understand, that means they were going to sign him to a series of 1-year contracts.
And he didn't deserve that.
Kurt was looking for a longer deal. He was looking for minimum 3 years. He wanted some commitment. So the Vikings, like any other team would, a 36-year-old coming off an Achilles tear, told him, go ahead. If you find a deal, knock yourself out. And somehow the Falcons were the best deal, as we addressed last offseason, that came around to him.
They're morons. That's what they are.
I don't think any other team offered him what the Falcons offered him, or were going to commit the way the Falcons committed money to him. But in no way, shape, or form was he misled, as all the articles now that have popped up in lieu of season 2 coming out. He was not misled, ladies and gentlemen. Both teams, because he says this, Minnesota and Atlanta told him they were going to draft a quarterback. Both teams. So he was fully aware, as far as him making his final decision, whether to sign a 1-year deal and stay in Minnesota or take the 3-year deal, which he inevitably did with Atlanta. He knew that both teams were going to draft a quarterback. Now, what he interpreted and what they were going to do were 2 totally different things. Here's where he's at fault. He interpreted that as each team was going to draft a quarterback late. He wasn't expecting either team to draft quarterbacks in the first round. So Atlanta, of course, with the 8th pick in last year's draft, selected Michael Penix Jr. The Vikings, with the 10th pick, drafted the kid from Michigan. So he's talking about that process at the end of episode 1, beginning of episode 2, like he was blindsided. Sir, you weren't blindsided. What you expected and what they said are 2 totally different things. That's your fault that you had an expectation of a team not doing its due diligence to cover its ass. Go ahead, Furious.
Here's what I don't understand. This man is 36 goddamn years old, coming off of an Achilles heel injury. Even if it weren't for the injury, you have to be a damn fool to think that a team is going to sign you and invest in you as their only quarterback for the future. How stupid do you have to be to believe that? That is just stupid. No, that's just dumb. I honestly can't think of any position where I would sign a 36-year-old as the main position going forward. You sign somebody that old in any position, they're a stopgap until you get something better.
Nah, tackles. Offensive linemen, they pretty much play to their 40s at a very high level.
Okay, fair point. All right, okay. However, we're talking about quarterbacks.
Fair.
The only quarterbacks are going to get hit. Mm-hmm. You're going to get hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're 36 years old. You're not popping back up like some 22 or 23-year-old would from taking a hit from, say, I don't know, Myles Garrett.
Funny you mentioned popping back up.
Uh-oh.
Falcons never should have signed him, period. He didn't deserve a 1-year contract. He damn sure didn't deserve a multi-year contract.
So he's playing with Atlanta. Everyone knows he's not 100%. The Achilles is not fully healed. He's playing through it anyway. But because NBA players know this probably better than football players, when you're recovering from an Achilles injury, your ankle tends to not be right because you're not on it. So the strength doesn't just leave your lower leg, it leaves your ankle as well. So you don't feel you stepping on that foot doesn't feel really like a sure step.
Nope.
So that's double the rehab you got to do. But he didn't factor that in his rehab. He just wanted to work the Achilles out to make sure it was all good and he was ready to go. So let's fast forward. Fears, you're familiar with the Falcons season. Do you remember the second game against the Saints where he took a hard hit in New Orleans?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do.
Do you remember what happened after that game? Because he got pulled in that game late.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what happened in the next 4 games?
I've kind of blocked it out.
Okay. I'm sorry to bring this up,
I've
but
blocked it out. I feel
Falcons
worse about this than the Super Bowl loss. To put it into perspective.
okay. The Falcons end up losing the next 4 games, in which there was a bye week in there as well. That series of events is chronicled later in the series because there's only 7 episodes. So somewhere around episode 4 or 5, they get to that point of the season with Kirk Cousins. And he talks about how he felt something pop because his elbow got hit and he landed on the shoulder. So he felt something pop when he got up and he couldn't really throw the ball right. And he never wanted to come out. And he remembered Drew Brees in his autobiography talking about how Doug Flutie told him, don't ever give up your starting spot. So he never wanted Penix to play. Okay, fair. Competition, da-da-da-da-da. But you also know, and he says this in the series, I probably shouldn't have played because my arm wasn't right. There was something wrong. I tried to play through it there, and I just didn't want to give up my spot. And I wish I knew how things were going to turn out because I was not ready to play physically. Mentally, I could do it, but I had no power to throw the ball where I needed to put it. And I'm sorry to bring this up again, Furious, but in that series of 4 games that they lost, Kirk Cousins threw like 12 interceptions.
Yep.
And 2 touchdowns. Matter of fact, there were 2 games in there he threw 0 touchdowns. One game he threw 5 picks to the Chargers.
Yeah.
All because he couldn't get zip on the ball. All because he didn't want to come out. And he says during the series, I probably shouldn't have played. I probably should have sat down for a couple of weeks to rehab into the bye week and get right.
Here's what I don't understand about that sequence of events. Now, none of us are trained medical professionals.
Nope.
However, as football fans, we can look at a player playing and know something's not right.
Body language says everything. Yes.
At this point, the head coach and the medical staff should have said, no, bring your ass over here. So as much credit and love as I have for Raheem, I fought him and him alone for the decision of leaving him in
as a starter for those.
He's the head coach. He
left it up to Kirk.
Unless the owner comes down and says you will play him, then you play him. Other than that, you pull him and you put him on the bench. Period.
He was scared of losing his job. He didn't want to come out.
That's not his decision.
It's not what he seems.
That's what I'm like. It's not his decision.
But here's the thing: veteran quarterbacks get this benefit of the doubt, right? And
he's
coaches
won one playoff game in 15 years. He shouldn't get the benefit of nothing.
I hear you, but I'm just explaining how this normally plays out across all NFL teams. The older vet, because he's been around for so long, regardless of his accomplishments, which Kurtz you can pretty much count on a finger, like you said, one playoff win. Raheem pretty much yielded is like, if you're good, we gonna go. Yes, Raheem probably should have gotten the medical report, which probably would have left out the shoulder injury because Kurt pretty much played it off like it's good, it's getting better, I'm fine. However, in this show, he says he wasn't fine. And he knew he wasn't fine.
I wish we could use that to get him out of this damn contract and get some of this money back that we got to give him.
As conduct detrimental to the team? Absolutely.
Yes.
Because I look at that 4-game stretch. If y'all had won any one of those 4 games,
playoff position, possibly.
You win the division off tiebreaker. Even if the rest of the season still plays out the way it played out with, loss to the Panthers still standing there, y'all still win on tiebreaker because you swept the Bucks who end up getting the division. I'm like, you're hurt. This is costing the team. Your performance is costing the team.
Yeah.
Not only that, you're hurting yourself in the long run.
Yeah.
Which I kind of look at as like Atlanta did the right thing as far as not trading you, no matter how badly you want out. Like, yeah, make your ass sit on the bench behind a young rookie, collect your check, shut the F up, and learn the lesson from this. I look at this as petty penance as far as I'm concerned, as far as how everything's playing out this offseason. Because the whole speculation when offseason began was, well, Kirk Cousins can't be the backup. Why the hell can he? He cost his team a playoff spot.
Right.
He's the one who quarterbacked the 4-game slide. He's the one that threw 12 interceptions over a 4-game period in which he knew he wasn't good. And now I get confirmation on a Netflix series where he actually says the words out of his mouth. Yeah, petty penance. Make him ride the bench. Be petty in the whole situation. Don't let his ass go nowhere. Make him ride that contract out riding the bench behind Michael Penix.
Or find a way to get rid of him and get that money back.
Right. Y'all not going to get that money back. There's no way to get the money back from him because it's guaranteed. Make him sit on the bench until that contract expires and then kick his butt out the door. But don't let him go anywhere.
That's just a hell of a lot of money we're wasting. Granted, it's our fault as a team. It's our fault as a team and as an org. Well, I say our, like I play for the damn team. It's the team's fault.
Indeed.
Again, 36 years old, coming off an Achilles injury, and you sign him to a multi-year deal.
Facts.
Now, there are a few quarterbacks in the league that have performed at a high enough level that you're like, again, as much as I may not like the man, Tom Brady, I'd be willing to take that gamble on because his stats have proven he knows what he's doing.
Forget his stats. His play has proven.
Exactly.
I don't take stats when you're signing older dudes, whatever. I don't care about stats. Stats will lie.
Fair.
Look at a player's play. Look, the eyeball test shows me, yeah, Tom did this. Hell, as much of an a-hole he is now, thinking he's the smartest dude in the room, Rodgers has done this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Russ has done this no matter how much the media wants to bash him. Russ has played at a high level.
I got to give you a little bit of pushback on Rodgers.
That's fair. You can give pushback on Rodgers. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing names out there, players who we've seen perform at a high level consistently. You know,
and you know what? All of them have won more than one playoff game
across multiple seasons.
More than one.
Candaysee, I'm gonna let you chime in here.
It's okay, Mac.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not okay.
No,
again, people always like want to hit me up and say, why am I so hard? Look, Kirk Cousins outside of football can be a wonderful husband, a doting father, ideal family man, all that good, wholesome cornbread America, blah, 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 apple pie. Who gives a flying fig between the lines?
It has nothing to do with football.
Kirk Cousins, the quarterback, is literally, unequivocally, the biggest thief in the history of the NFL. To get not one, but two fully guaranteed contracts from the Minnesota Vikings, and they get another $100 million guaranteed from the Atlanta Falcons. His agent is like the greatest dude walking the face of the earth, which leads me to my second NFL story that I would like to get y'all opinion about. And I don't know if y'all saw this. So I heard about this a couple of weeks ago. Columnist who works for ESPN, Pablo Torre. I don't know if y'all familiar with the name.
Mm-hmm.
Pablo Torre somehow, some way, got a hold of a 61-page document that confirms that there is collusion between the owners, the NFL higher-ups, including the commissioner, and executives of the NFL Players Association, asserting that collusion exists as far as guaranteed money in player contracts, stemming from 2022 when Deshaun Watson signed his fully guaranteed $220 million contract with the Cleveland Browns. And that there was active attempts by the owners to not give then upcoming free agents Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray fully guaranteed, or not give them as much guaranteed dollars when they were signing their contracts at the time.
Here's my shocked face.
I know.
Mine too.
But apparently this went to arbitration. And the players union representatives, the 32 reps of the players union, were not informed that, one, this was at arbitration, and two, what the result was. This is a sealed agreement between executives of the NFLPA and the NFL with the commissioner's sign off. And I'm like, how the hell did the head of the NFLPA not get this to the player reps? And then I remembered DeMaurice Smith is no longer the executive director of the NFLPA. They have somebody else now, and I feel like this dude is a plant by the league to keep the players in line for future negotiations. Let me what is his name here? Because I saw it. Christopher Droney was the arbitrator on the case. And because basically this was supposed to be just between the people who were there at arbitration. I mean, at the arbitrary hearing. This was never supposed to get to any representatives of any players whatsoever. But somehow Pablo Torre was handed a copy of this document.
Journalists have their ways.
So Lloyd Howe, that's who it is right now. I feel like Lloyd, even though they selected Lloyd Howe as their executive director, I feel like he's a plant. He's working for the other side.
Selected.
Well, no, because the Players Association through the 32 team reps have to vote on this. They have to vote on the direct. Someone can be presented. I forgot how the process works in great detail, but those 32 team reps, they're the ones who vote for the director. So it's not like this person wasn't vetted, but I don't think he was vetted well enough for him to drop the ball on something like this and the 32 reps not know about it.
Or
it sounds real FAMU-ish to me.
Oh, damn.
Actually, what I was thinking was after he got the deal, then the commissioner came to him with an offer you can't refuse.
Fair enough, because if you remember when DeMaurice Smith was the executive director of the NFLPA, he pretty much went toe-to-toe, head-to-head with Roger Goodell in the NFL over a litany of things as far as doing justice for the players. And since this dude's been out there, I haven't heard anything as far as what the players want.
I think somebody should investigate his finances.
Fair. Because and the article is up on ESPN. Let me
Sorry, that's so funny.
What? I'm just saying.
Somebody take a look at those finances.
I'm just saying because
need to see. But some people are. I be watching those NCISs and stuff. So it'll be little increments. We won't be able to see it for real. It'd be like we gotta investigate the shell corporations.
So I put the link to the ESPN article in our chat. So whenever you're watching this video, you can click on that link, read it. Yeah, if you got 5 minutes to kill, definitely give this a read. It is thorough. It's cringeworthy to see what the executives at the top of the NFLPA pretty much did not do. Pablo Torre has a podcast called Pablo Torre Finds Out, which is where he first unearthed this. Yeah, and I'm like, this is damning not just for the league, but for its major partner in ESPN. Understand, ESPN is the NFL's biggest partner, period, bar none.
My question is this. Obviously, I always say follow the money. If you follow the money, you can typically figure out everything you need to know. What I wonder is there anybody on any, it has to be multiple people on multiple teams that are high enough up excuse me, that are possibly on a board or the higher ups are all talking to each other. We know that. I would bet you've got multiple people higher ups in each NFL organization that have some sort of tie to ESPN, and there's a kickback somewhere. Because there's no way you're going to tell me that ESPN didn't know about somebody. I'm not going to try and tarnish the entire organization, but you're not going to tell me that somebody or somebody's didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Because they stand to benefit from it, so they're going to keep, their thumb on the scale as much as they can.
Look, the bottom line with the NFL is making money. The owners want to make money. What the owners don't like doing is paying the players guaranteed money. The players look at other sports and like, their contracts are guaranteed. Why aren't ours? Which I get. Now, granted, yes, there's a health issue as far as at least 50% of the injuries that can occur in a football game can take you out for the entire year. And owners don't want to pay that money for players who are out, but it's like, we want some guarantees that we still won't get paid, even if we get hurt, because healthcare is on us.
Right.
Like the team's not paying. Yes, the team's medical staff and trainers can evaluate and diagnose an injury. They can rehab an injury. They can rehab minor things that happen, sprains, pulls, whatever have you, whatever. But if I rupture my Achilles, tear my ACL, my MCL, all you can do is diagnose that. There's no team doctor on staff who's going to do the surgery to repair that. Right. So,
and what gets me is most of the owners are titans of other industries.
Yes.
It's not as if I'm running, a mom and pop magazine called Flavor, and I got to dig into my retirement fund to give my employees a 2 or 3% raise.
You leave my girl Dana alone.
I'm just saying, in that case, I can see you being a little tight with your money.
Khadijah James does not deserve this slander, sir.
It's not slander. It's not. But these are titans of industries. Kraft. The man owns Kraft. You're not going to tell me he can't afford to guarantee a couple of people, $20-30 million on a contract.
They can afford it. That's not the issue. The issue is, do they want to?
As businessmen, they don't want to. They want to hold on to the money.
Exactly. They'd rather these players play for next to nothing. So, Candaysee, what's got your attention over there? WNBA game?
I am so sorry. So, I haven't seen Sinners yet, right? And it's on HBO, but I'm watching it, but I'm not, because clearly I can't hear it because it's on mute. And I started watching it. That's why I was late, because I was like, oh, shoot, I just started watching this and I need to get on my podcast. So now that I know that it's on HBO, it'll probably come on again tomorrow at around this time. And
don't you have, so you have HBO, that means you have HBO Max.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can watch it anytime on HBO Max.
Oh, well.
Just
I didn't want to see it at first because I thought it was a vampire movie. I don't do those. And so finally, now that I know that, it's not so bad, I actually wanted to go to the movies to see it after I said, it's not so bad, but then now it's not. Yeah.
Can they
say how large of your black card?
No.
How large of a TV do you have?
I don't know, 52, 54, something like that.
No, that might not be big enough then. No, I was going to say, because mine that came today is like the 4K Ultra Blu-ray. And if you've got a TV big enough, you can have a movie theater like experience.
Nice.
I think I'm okay. Like I'll probably I do have I have
TV.
The surround sound. So
blah blah blah, bigger TV.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever.
Does anybody else have anything NFL to get to before I close the segment out with?
Okay, I do, but it's not really NFL related so much, but it is. I'm happy that we have not had to hear or deal with these shows talking constantly about the Dallas Cowboys. I have had a really good summer so far. Because, you know, every year it seems like, what's Dak going to do? What's whatever going to do? Whatever's going to do. I mean, they're going to talk about him a little bit, but like it has not been inundated in my face to where I don't want to watch any sports talk or listen to any sports talk. So I'm excited.
2 weeks.
Dang it.
Training camp start in 2 weeks. That's when it's going to pick up again.
I'll throw this out
right now. I'm excited.
Yes.
I'll throw this out to go along with what Candaysee just brought up. I saw an article within the last week that it talked about the best tandem team of receivers in the league. I forget who wrote the article, but they put the Dallas Cowboys receivers as the best tandem receivers in the league. And I'm looking through the comments because in the article, like, who's going to stop these two amazing receivers? And somebody down in the comments said Dak is going to be the one to stop them.
Or George Pickens is going to be the one to stop him because he's one of those wide receivers. And they're just waiting for like the one game he doesn't get the ball 14 times, he might crash out. Yeah, I've seen the same thing. Fans commenting like, yeah, like between Dak and George Pickens, one of those two is going to stop. More people I saw comment on something similar to that were like George Pickens because he might crash out from not getting the ball. Like the first game he get 5 targets and 2 catches, it's a wrap.
These people.
So I'm gonna go on a little mini rant as we close out the NFL segment.
Wait.
I said mini rant.
Okay. I'm gonna start counting down. It's 3 minutes you get. 3 minutes of a rant. So when it's time for you wrap up, I'm gonna go like this. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm gonna try to keep it as brief as possible. So it's almost like me and my fan base can't enjoy our Super Bowl victory for this entire summer without some idiot coming in talking about, well, if the quarterback of their team had a stacked roster like the Eagles, then they would have won the Super Bowl too. I'm like, stacked roster? Okay. So then I did some digging and I had to pull up the Super Bowl starters by depth chart for my Philadelphia Eagles to make sure I wasn't losing my ish. The stacked roster that the Eagles went into the Super Bowl with, about 80% were drafted by Philadelphia. Let me say this again. 80% of this roster was drafted. So you crying about the Eagles stacked roster, what you need to be doing is bitching at your team's general manager for not doing their due diligence, whoever's ahead in player personnel for your respective team, and light up their inbox for not doing the due diligence, because a lot of these players are not first-round draft picks. Anybody could have had some of these players, like our quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who was a second-round pick. Everybody could have had him. Saquon Barkley was a free agent signing. That's the Giants' fault. Y'all call up your boy Joe Shane and you bitching him about letting Saquon walk. That's his fault. The Saquon's backups, by the way, Kenny Gainwell and Will Shipley, both drafted by Philadelphia. The wide receiver depth chart, everybody on the wide receiver depth chart was drafted by Philadelphia except A.J. Brown, who was traded from Tennessee, which ultimately got that general manager fired, and Jahan Dotson, who was acquired at the beginning of the season from Washington. So Jahan Dotson was a non-factor, and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts been best friends since before college. Hey, Qiana, how you doing? I'm just crashing out a little bit.
Grand Rising Kings and Queens.
The tight ends, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, E.J. Jenkins were all drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. The offensive line, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, all drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, by the way, all their backups were drafted by the team. The only free agent was Mekhi Becton from the New York Jets, who was deemed a first-round bust.
It's almost as if somebody in your organization cares about player development.
Every single defensive lineman that played in the Super Bowl, I'm going to say this again. Every single defensive lineman that played in the Super Bowl, with the exception of Bryce Huff, was drafted by the team. That includes Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, Jalex Hunt, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Moro Jomo, and Thomas Booker IV. Yeah, Candaysee, I'm getting there. I'm almost done.
I told him 3 minutes.
Zach Bond was a free agent acquisition because the Saints didn't want to re-sign a special teams player. Dude was almost defensive player of the year and made first team All-Pro. Okay, so that's 2 people so far on defense. As far as the corners, Darius Slay was a trade from Detroit 8 years ago. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Avonte Maddox, Isaiah Rodgers, Keely Ringo, all drafted by the squad. Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Tristan McCollum, all drafted by the squad. CJ Gardner-Johnson was a trade or free agent signing this time around, and then we just turned around and traded him, and everybody on special teams was drafted by the team. So of all those names I mentioned, 7, 8 names total were acquired via free agency or trade? Everybody else was drafted by the team? So what is your GM doing that you don't have a stacked roster like the Eagles do? I'll wait. Anybody want to chime in? Anybody?
Who are you talking to?
Call
him out.
Everybody out there who wants to slam. Everybody out there who wants to slam Jalen Hurts for having a stacked roster or saying he's not good or the team wouldn't, or their quarterback of their team would have done just as well. I've seen Bills fans say Josh Allen would have had 5 Super Bowls with that roster. Chargers fans talking about Justin Herbert.
What Bills fans said that?
You're not on social media like I am.
Who are these Bills fans? They're not real Bills fans. They need to.
And look, I've got no issue with quarterbacks playing well. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, all play well year in, year out. What you're not going to do is throw names like Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, who's the boy in LA, the Rams. Well, I'm a blanking on his name. He used to play in Detroit. Matthew Stafford. Yeah. You're not going to give me those names and be like, yeah, they'd be better than Jalen Hurts on the squad with the same time. No. You're not going to convince me of that. Not those 3. Not Goff, Stafford, and Herbert. Absolutely not. Not Herbert, who can't win a playoff game.
I'm going to give you a little bit of pushback on Stafford. Just a little bit.
How about I'm going to push back on your pushback with he wasted the end of Megatron's career. He got a head coach fired who took him to the playoffs 2 years in a row with 10-6 records, and he crapped the bed in both playoff games.
I give you a little pushback because the roster that the Eagles have is better than any roster he ever played with.
That's not my problem.
Minus Megatron, the Eagles, everybody on your squad is better than anybody he's ever played with. So that's why I say I'm going to give you a little pushback on Stafford.
Because even with the current Rams offense that he's had over the last 3 to 4 years, he's only got 1 Super Bowl victory, and he's pretty much crapped the bed in all the playoff games. He almost cost them the Super Bowl against the Bengals by throwing those 2 interceptions. So no one's going to convince me that Matthew Stafford, 1, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, or 2, is Hall of Fame worthy.
Again, I said a little pushback.
Yeah, his body of work speaks for itself. He's his own worst enemy on the football field. He is the reason why he can't be mentioned in the echelon of great quarterbacks of all time. Anyway, I'm done.
Hello. Excuse me.
Hi, Qiana. How you doing? What's going on, boo?
Black man on the rant. Can I get the backstory or what is going on?
No, we're done.
Okay.
You missed it. We're moving on.
It's real short. The short version is people were giving the Eagles shit about their roster.
Got it.
Yeah.
So he's on
and I was just
social
making
media
a point.
for you're on there too much. So then when you're on there too much, what happens is that you see all the things that the people say, and then it makes you angry, and then you need to rant. But
you went down the rabbit hole, James.
Right.
Yeah,
girl.
Went down the rabbit hole.
Just
I'm just saying.
People saying stuff, and now he got to rant because he feels like he can't. He just be happy. You know what? Go back and watch the pivot episode with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel better.
Yes.
Oh, wait. No, I do you one better. There's not a single day that's gone by since we won the Super Bowl that I haven't watched something about us winning the Super Bowl or from the season of us winning the Super Bowl, including the pivot episode with Saquon Barkley.
I know.
The pivot episode with Cooper DeJean.
He's gonna. He said it because I just happened to listen to it today. The second one.
You know what? I can't even say anything about that.
He was like,
I can't even say anything about that because the day the Falcons win the Super Bowl, y'all are all gonna be sick of me.
There's a difference though. You're not gonna be angry because only Eagles fans get angry.
How long have you known me?
I am justifiably angry at trolls pretty much talking about the stacked roster we have. Like our
if
GM
you would stay
went
out
out
of social media, you wouldn't see those trolls.
Yeah. Take a time out, James. Take a time out.
I know, right?
Still not happy.
No. We gotta put people in their place now.
Let the anger flow through you.
Gonna go to this.
Thank you. At least somebody understands where I'm coming from. I appreciate it. I'm giving in to my hate. That's right.
Feed on the
joining the dark side with the cake and the pie.
My God. Sorry. Ooh. All right, bro.
So why he give the white girl the gold?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so Candaysee's attention is split, Qiana, between doing this show and watching Sinners because it's her first time watching it.
Actually, I'm not really watching it, so it doesn't count. I haven't seen it yet.
Why do you put that on? That's not a background type of movie.
No, it was. So what happened was I was watching Aquaman. I was watching Aquaman 2 as I was eating my dinner.
Okay.
I was watching Aquaman 2 on HBO. And then Sinners came on after it. And then I said, oh, shoot, I need to get on the podcast. So it's actually been on mute this whole time. But every time I turn and look, something's going on. I'm like one of those people who's like, oh, well, why is this happening now? But I'm going to wait. I'm going to watch it now that I know that it's not really about vampires. See, I didn't watch it at first because I thought it was about vampires. Sorry.
I love you all.
Get me another day. This is the sports podcast, not the movie podcast.
Right. Q, is there anything NFL related that you would like to discuss before we move on to the NBA?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Nope. So, NBA was interesting. Who was it again?
Them people.
Oklahoma City Thunder won the finals.
Yay.
It was
but
great.
Not without controversy.
Right.
Kind of.
Because Tyrese Halliburton ruptured his Achilles midway through the first quarter of Game 7.
Oof.
And OKC still played around and almost blew that game.
Man, listen. I thought I was watching the Knicks. They were giving me conniptions that whole series. They were giving me conniptions as if I was watching my New York Knicks. I was like, what is this madness? Why? Like, what is this aura of Indiana Pacers that just comes through and they come and they just want to take your soul? Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
It was bad.
Yikes.
I know, right?
I mean, let's be real. The Knicks only got to the Eastern Conference Finals because Jason Tatum ruptured his Achilles.
That's not the reason why. Don't be that way, Eagles fans.
I mean, it definitely helped.
I mean, it did, but still.
Okay, fair. It's not the only reason.
I hate asterisks. They make me mad. like when he did get hurt, I was like, now I'm gonna have to hear it from all the folks. They're gonna be like, well, you know that they wouldn't even won if Jason Tatum hadn't torn his Achilles.
Now that went on for days.
I hate asterisks.
Comments.
They're the worst.
Fair enough.
Which is why I stay off of social media so I don't get angry.
I was on social media for other reasons and happened to see Eagles post. My bad.
Uh-huh.
Your algorithm, Lord have mercy. I have to talk offline. Something wrong with your algorithm, bro.
No, it's not. No, it's not his algorithm that's messed up.
It's him.
It's not the algorithm.
It's both.
I've known James for, good God, damn near 20 years at this point. It's not the algorithm that's messed up.
He created the messed up algorithm. Hi.
Oh my gosh. Well, the NBA
finals.
draft recently took place as well, and surprise, surprise, the Dallas Mavericks took Cooper Flagg with the number 1 pick. The Spurs took Dylan Harper, son of Ron Harper, with the number 2 pick. The Sixers took VJ Edgecombe with the 3rd pick. Hornets drafted Con Nupel with the 4th pick, and the 5th pick was Ace Bailey by the Utah Jazz. Anybody have anything to say about their respective teams and their draft picks?
Cooper Flagg is overrated.
Yeah. I just
Poor Dallas.
understand like the excitement because it's something new, but I feel like this is just what Dallas does in general across the board in sports is they try to just feed and live off of hype just to be disappointed in the end. We'll see.
Well, it didn't matter who had the number 1 pick. They were going to pick Cooper Flagg because everybody.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg was definitely going to be the number 1 pick regardless.
Overrated though.
That's pretty sad because I've seen the dude play and I look at it and I'm like, okay, he's an athletic player, but I don't see anything special about him.
I just think they need somebody to have as the poster child to come in and save the day. That's how I feel because I'm just like, y'all are over freaking reacting. Calm down. But they need something. You know what I mean? I got to grab onto this and yeah, whatever.
He got nominated for an ESPY for something he did at Duke that I was like, that was just regular. Like y'all could have highlighted a somebody from a HBCU squad for that. Like what? Like
this is award say regular.
Well, it's one of those best play of the year or something. And I was
one of those.
You could have put something else on there. Like you just wanted to because it's Cooper Flagg. Like I was just like, that wasn't even.
Yeah.
That poor boy. His poor head is all hyped up. He should have stayed in college. Played some more.
The hype started last summer when he was part of the select team to scrimmage against the men's basketball team. That's when the hype started.
Yes, so we know that. That still doesn't mean he's not overrated, though.
I mean, but when LeBron James says he's the best high school player he's seen in his lifetime,
because he doesn't really watch high school. Don't let that man fool you. Yeah, he watched high school when his son was playing, and that's it.
Yep.
So Cooper Flagg could have been the best, besides his son.
Oh, man.
Cooper Flagg is better than his son.
Speaking of that knucklehead LeBron James, I don't know if y'all have seen this, but he stay trying to write a narrative that don't exist. He did a show, one of his own podcasts recently with his head coach, talking about ring culture and how players nowadays all they do is chase ring culture. And it drew the ire of all the talking heads across all the networks. And I had to pause for a minute because I saw the clip. I saw a clip from ESPN of them talking about it. And I had to send it to my boy Greg, who knows more basketball than I will ever know. But I do know this much. Chasing rings wasn't a thing until he left Cleveland for Miami to team up with Wade and Bosch. So I'm trying to figure out how is he bashing a culture that he initiated.
I wish somebody on that show would have called him on that bullshit.
No one did because they were talking about it because this happened during the finals. In either one of the finals pregame or postgame shows, and I'm sorry to bring this name up, Stephen A. Smith was there talking to, of all people, Tracy McGrady, Jason Williams, and Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, God.
As far as LeBron's comments. And I'm like, y'all couldn't find at least one dude who won a championship to put on this panel to have this discussion with? You had to talk to these three dudes?
Uh-oh.
One dude who basically Stephen A. constantly bashed for never getting out of the first round. one dude who basically flamed out over gun charges in DC, and one dude who basically violated his rookie contract by riding a motorcycle and getting hurt. These are the three guys you had on your panel. I'm sorry to water it down that way. Look, Trace McGrady was a phenomenal basketball player, but could never get out of the first round.
Nope. That's true.
All the talk that he did, both in, well, I'm not going to say Toronto because he was still young, but from the time he got to Orlando and then to Houston, he never got either of those teams out of the first round. And they were up 3-1 in multiple series and always blew them. So I'm like, they're defending LeBron, talking about, yeah, because it's what y'all put the stress on, saying that Stephen A and the rest of the media stress rings for greatness. Nah, we use rings to separate the great of the great. Like Charles Barkley is a great player. Unfortunately, we're not putting him in the same conversation as Tim Duncan.
Nope.
No.
And just because you have a ring, that don't really mean shit because
Robert Horry has 7.
Who's old boy from the Lakers that's got a ring? He's got a real stupid ass nickname. The dude who shot the 3 and turned around and walked away and it rimmed in and out.
Swaggy P. I know who you're talking about.
He's got a ring with somebody. I forget who. So just because you have a ring don't make you a great player.
That's
not the discussion. The discussion was more so on the great players chasing rings, not the average players. And how we talk about the great players. And Stephen A was making the point is that no one calls the great players who don't have rings bums. That's what the younger generation does. Like, we talk about the greatness of Charles Barkley. We talk about the greatness of Karl Malone and John Stockton. We talk about the greatness of Dominique Wilkins even. Just because they don't have rings doesn't mean they don't belong in the conversation as some of the greatest players of all time. Right. But at the same time, when comparing them to other players at their position all time, there is a separation of conversation. Like I said, Barkley versus Duncan. You're not equating those two because, yeah, they're both dominant in their time of playing, but Duncan has 4 rings. So you're having a different conversation about Tim Duncan than you are Charles Barkley.
The better comparison would be Barkley and Dominique.
Well, I'm trying to pick players who one who has rings and one who doesn't.
Oh, no. I'm okay. All right, fair. Yeah.
So that's what they were all trying to get at, and Stephen A was making out, and I found myself mind-numbingly siding with Stephen A during this entire conversation they were having. I'm like, gosh, damn, Stephen A is freaking right. But then again, Stephen A knows more about b-ball than I'll ever know. I'll trust him in that regard. But he is calling the 3 of them to task, letting them know, like, hey, y'all the ones, your generation and the current generation, they're the ones chasing rings with all the player movement. Because now players don't stay put. Yeah. Players change teams every 2 years. Even the best players in the league change squads every 2 years. But this is a culture perpetuated by LeBron James. And Stephen A got on him about that too. He's tired of LeBron James saying things and then want to turn and have a conversation with him and with his boys on a podcast trying to downplay like people are dissing him. No one's dissing him. Like, LeBron is a great player. He's not in my top 5, but he is a great player. I don't care that he has 4 rings. He is still a great player. Is there a separation between him and some other greats? Yes, because they have more rings. Like, there's no for me, there's no comparison between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. That's not a conversation worth having because there's no comparison. One, they play 2 different positions. If we're talking about positions, the best comp for LeBron James, as I've told people, is actually Magic Johnson. Because you're talking about players of similar stature that do similar things on the ball court, regardless of what LeBron James' position is. He is truly the point guard out there when he's on the floor. Yeah. So, for me, the best comp for him is Magic Johnson. But Magic's got 5 rings. And LeBron's got 4. And Magic got those 5 in less finals appearances than LeBron because we ain't going to talk about how many times he dragged bum teams to the finals and got destroyed for dragging bum teams to the finals.
Well, I just think LeBron feels like he could just say whatever he wants, and he doesn't need to be held accountable. He just don't give a damn.
No, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, he just be saying shit. And the movie must have got real good. But he just don't make no sense.
He'll do these podcasts with his boys or whatever and talk about, yeah, man, they don't hold me to the same da-da-da. Like, I'm just as good. Like, no, you're not. Like, stop having your boys hype you up and letting you believe something that's not true. And they'll do that. And it's like, you creating a false narrative of something that's not even out there just to have what? Clicks? Have bait out there to keep a conversation going that doesn't need to be had?
Yeah, that's the world that we live in. Clicks and likes.
Oh my gosh.
We're the aliens. I'm ready to go.
They ain't coming down here.
They can beam me up. They don't have to come down here.
Us. They are sick of us.
Beam me up.
Earth is ghetto.
Oh, she's actually going to be here in Atlanta soon.
Nice.
Performing.
Oh.
I do want to share this because I don't know if you all saw this or not, but if you haven't heard, Kevin Durant was traded from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets. When that period opened up. Does anybody know how he found out?
Yep, I do.
Was it social media?
Nope.
Not exactly.
Watch this.
We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited. Great young core, great coach. I think he could be a great fit there. A lot going on right now. I'm gonna ask you 2 more questions. You're headed to Houston.
So that is how KD found out he was being traded. He was on stage at Fanatics Fan Fest. Fanatics, if you don't know, they're the ones who make apparel for the different leagues or whatnot, and they have athletes come in for a big convention over the weekend every year in like late June, right? So he's on stage for a Q&A session with possibly some audience participation. And that's how he found out he was being traded. On stage at a live event in which he does not have access to his mobile device or anybody to let him know, his agent, anything. It just pops up across whatever the feed is of any sports network. The audience knew, the young lady on stage with him finds out, and then pretty much just tells him, like, hey, we just found out you're being traded to Houston. How do you feel about that?
Damn, that's like being on Maury. See if you the daddy. The logic said, that's jacked up. I don't like it. I'm sorry.
That's just one step. That's just one step above getting fired on your day off.
On your day off.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's how you found out.
Do you know why do this like this? I'm just curious if there's been something released to the public.
You have to be first.
Okay.
That's all it is.
That makes sense.
I'm pretty sure the team rep who contacts his agent from Phoenix let him know he was being traded. But again, if he's on stage doing a live event and then that news is relayed to the agent and the trade happens and the league says this is a fair trade, the two teams can do this, and then the sports entities get a hold of it, they're going to put it out on their social medias.
Yeah.
So naturally, the fans who go to these events all have devices in their hand. Some of them have alerts turned on for ESPN, phone buzzes. Oh shit, is this real? Katie's getting, yo, you see this, Katie? That Katie? Yeah, Katie getting traded. And then the young lady on stage finds out, I don't know who told her.
She probably heard one of the fans say it.
Probably the whole audience probably just shout, yo, Katie, you got traded to Houston.
This is insane.
Unless she had an earpiece in that we just couldn't see.
Maybe.
That too.
That would make more sense. Listen, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of influencers. I'm sick of all of it. Can we just go back to the game, please? The heart of the game.
Nah,
that would be nice.
What are you talking about?
That's jacked up.
And bring back hand checking.
Candaysee, you awfully quiet over there, chuckling and laughing.
Commercial must have came on.
No, the vampire stuff actually started.
Oh my gosh.
Man, listen.
Girl.
You don't have to tell us. We saw the movie multiple times.
How he gonna get out the room? Oh, he got out the room.
How are you doing this?
Ma'am, this is for another show.
I know. I'm not even look. I had to turn it off. I just turned it off because
just turn it
I feel
off.
like it's the real hurt now.
Any thoughts on KD finding out how he got traded?
Oh man, I thought that was hilarious. But I feel like I still feel like it was a stunt. I feel like he knew. He knew before he got on that stage. I think he had an inkling. I think there has to be an inkling. Like, there's no freaking way that you trade somebody and they don't know that they're getting traded.
Well,
a guy of that caliber. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't just like some little big person. This is like who knew that he was going to be at another team at some point. So he might have known it could have been like Houston and so he knew it was coming. And nowadays news isn't for the 5 o'clock news anymore. It's
a 24-hour news cycle.
24/7.
Which is why Qiana is sick of this.
It's not like they're Okongwu from the Hawks.
Oh my gosh.
Right. That face you just made lets me know you have no idea who that is, and that proves the point. He's the kind of player you would expect to find out the way that KD found out he got traded.
Right.
Like, where's the respect for the superstar players? Like,
right.
That was disrespectful.
Well,
we could have held off. Like, what? Wait, where's KD? He's at Fanatics this weekend. All right, we'll make the trade on Sunday. Like, what's going to change in a day?
Nothing.
Or a few hours. Like, it's not like this is like, so we got another offer for another superstar. You need moving this deal now, Phoenix. Like, that wasn't the issue.
Trash.
Well, I wonder though, go ahead and make the trade, but don't publicize it yet.
Unfortunately, that's not how that works, because all transactions go through the league office, and the league office makes that information public. So then that's how the sports entities find out.
Don't make it public. Sit on it until the next day.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
They can't do that.
Is it a policy that as soon as it happens, the league office has to make it public?
They have to make it known, yes.
Oh, okay. They need to have a 24-hour freeze clause added.
It's just the way the world is now, because like 20 years ago, it would have happened and he wouldn't have known. Like someone would have had to call somebody's phone to do whatever, to talk to whoever, to whatever. Now it's just
the details would have had to been faxed back and forth between Houston, Phoenix, and the league office in New York, and then confirmation would have taken time because of the slowness of how faxes worked 20 years ago and all that good stuff.
There would have been a plot to this movie. And we would go with it. Now, y'all remember 20 years ago, like, the news did not come on like this.
Yes.
Not until the OJ trial.
Okay. Now it's just 24/7, and everything is breaking news. No, everything is
not breaking news.
So just constantly furious, like you said. I have to be first. I have to get the likes. I have to get this. I have to.
I mean, it was the OJ trial is the reason we're in the news cycle business that we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Well, I mean,
because when that happened, just as a quick time, when that happened, I was in high school, and we had people's parents calling the school about, don't let the kids leave because of the foolishness that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
Any other NBA stories? Traded, though.
Any other NBA stories before we move on that anybody wants to bring up?
Well, I mean, we could talk about for 2 seconds that NBA 2K26
That's part of the next segment of WNBA stuff that I was going to go over.
Well, I mean, it's all three, but okay, go ahead.
One last thing I want to show as far as how soft today's NBA players are.
Uh-oh. I don't think
yeah. So I want you to watch this real quick.
Pistol Pete Maravich, a former NCAA and NBA scoring champion, against George Gervin, the current scoring champion in the league. Tonio Spurs has won the toss, and he fires up the jumper off the glass. And the tip
backboard straight out.
Going to go into his bag of tricks, and he has got a lot of them. And gave the big fella a lot of problems. Champion at LSU, twice an NBA scoring champion. Looking on. George Gervin.
All right. So you get the gist. They're playing horse.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are unfamiliar, that is Pistol Pete Maravich and George Gervin, the Iceman. That is an all-star weekend competition. That is a one-on-one thing. And we talked about, and this will be our transition to WNBA, how Unrivaled in their first season, mid-season, did a one-on-one tournament. And ladies, you weren't here last month, but Fierce and I did talk about this. Would you like to see during All-Star Weekend a one-on-one tournament of the best players in the NBA? Would that get your attention to actually pay attention to NBA's All-Star Weekend?
Yes.
I always watch. I am thoroughly entertained every All-Star Weekend. I'm always entertained.
Thoroughly entertained?
Yes, I am. I
Really?
love to see the dunk contest. I love to see the three-point contest. This year, I love the whole. What did they do? The little obstacle course. I was in it all. I get entertained by things like that. Like I like to see outside the door. So yes, I would love to see horse again.
However, was not entertained, and what you just asked me, bring that. Hold my interest, because I'm getting tired of it. Do something else.
Right, because the All-Star game is ass.
Yeah.
What they did this past year didn't work. What they did the year before didn't work. The year before that, we had the 400 combined points scored by both teams. That was a fiasco, and they're trying to figure out why people aren't watching.
Because the players don't care.
Yeah.
Well,
and it always comes
you
back
have
to
to
that.
remember, though. Remember that the NBA. I was having this conversation yesterday. Sorry, so it didn't hit. But you have to remember that the NBA, when you were talking about a combined 400 points, right? Yeah. So the NBA for the last 10 to 15 years has been all about the three ball anyway. So I am sure that they needed to go ahead and score all those points, because that's all they were doing was taking shots upon shots upon shots upon shots. Nobody takes it in the paint. Nobody takes the board. Nobody goes in for a dunk for real anymore.
Well, but Candaysee, to me, it's not just about taking threes, but play some defense on them damn 3-point shots.
I don't know what defense is. They don't even play defense during the regular NBA. So why would you think in the All-Star game they would play defense?
And to me, that's the problem, is the players don't care. It's
not about the care. Anymore. It's what they're teaching them now. You go to basketball games now.
I go back to Dwayne Wade breaking Kobe Bryant's nose.
That was the end of an era.
I'm just saying they cared.
But it really was
so much that he broke his nose.
Y'all are just carnal anyway. You won't.
No.
I want a game. I want something real. Even just because it's the All-Star game doesn't mean it has to be, oh, look who's on the red carpet. Oh, which celebrities are playing in this. Oh, look at who is. I don't give a damn about no Kardashians. Play some damn basketball. That's what I want.
But we just talked about the way that life is now. 20 years ago, it wasn't like that. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. It is what it is.
You can't have it both ways, though. You can't be okay with, not you, but I'm saying the league. You can't be okay with all that paparazzi bullshit, and then you complaining about your ratings are down. I wonder why. People want something more real, they're genuine, Gen X. We still exist. We don't run the world, but we are still here. Damn. you got an audience that wants to see some real live action sports. Yeah. Get back to the principles of the game. You throw Usher in there at the halftime show, that's fine. But I want to see.
They can't. There's too many. We have come too far in sports and in medicine and all the things that we know, right? To backtrack to when people used to elbow people in the jaw and break it, or NFL team. Oh, we're not talking about NBA, but like the way that you hit somebody on the field, right? We're way too advanced now. Like we're not going to have that anymore. It really wasn't okay then, but
yes, it was. It was.
So now
it was okay.
It was not okay for somebody.
Yes, it was.
No, it's not okay for somebody to almost die on the field. Like that's not okay.
Hey, you got to lay it all on the line.
You know what? No. That's
so
the white folks that told us to do that.
Hold on. I want to ask both of the ladies this. How do y'all feel about the new format? Because this is the third year in a row they've changed it. Next year's All-Star game is going to be Team USA versus the world. And they're hoping
NBA or WNBA?
NBA. NBA's All-Star game next year in February will be Team USA versus the world.
So didn't they steal that from WNBA?
I mean,
did they do that last year?
No, WNBA's All-Star game last year was Team USA versus WNBA All-Stars.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's good practice so that they don't get beat down.
Well, they're hoping that putting them up against the best international players like Giannis, like Luka, like Jokic will spur them to have some pride, because in the All-Star game, those international players will go try to prove something, as opposed to LeBron, who's just there to be there, who this past year did not let anybody know he wasn't going to play till the day of, when he knew for days on end that he wasn't going to play.
But what about the people who are all-stars that don't make the NBA, that would have been all-stars that did make the Team USA? I don't like that.
Well, let's put it this way. This is the last.
Sometimes I like to see my all-stars. I don't care what anybody says. It's all about the favorites. I want to see the favorites.
Okay, well, you want to have Team USA versus the world. There are a lot.
I'm okay with that too.
There are a lot of Canadian players.
I want to see Wembanyama. Hopefully, he can come back.
Pretty sure Wembanyama's going to make the international.
I was so excited to see him play this year, and I was sad when he couldn't play anymore. I just wanted to see how good he was. He wasn't overrated like Cooper Flag, but anyway, sorry.
Well, you don't have to worry about seeing Cooper Flag at All-Star Weekend, unless he's walking the red carpet, because he ain't going to be on nobody's All-Stars team.
He's not going to be on Team USA?
No, he's not going to be on Team USA.
You sure they might go ahead and
he's not going to be on Team USA.
Have they announced?
More excited to see the world players than the US. More excited to see the world players. I mean, this is cool. I don't know. It's just me. I'm just pissed off because the shit it doesn't grab my attention and my heart like it used to. And I understand that things have to change, but now it just seems like they're just throwing everything in the pot, throwing it against the wall. Let's see what sticks. I don't know. Maybe this will be beneficial. But again, I'm just kind of like, shit, I just want to watch the world players because I feel like they're going to stomp the hell out of the USA.
Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah,
I think also, if you remember, you did make note that we are Gen X, right? And so we've seen we've crossed over so many different, right? And so if you think about it, like my parents' age and stuff like that, they said the same thing about the NBA when we were getting all hyped up about stuff. They were like, oh, they don't have the fundamentals, or oh, Oscar Robertson, oh, such and such and such, right? They talked about it and they were like, it's just not the same to them. So I think we're just in that age or in that era of it's just not, because we've seen so much, it's just not the same for us. And we just got to, for me, I'm just like, I am thoroughly entertained no matter what. Maybe
I agree. Every generation is going to complain about what's currently going on, but social media and the just what the goal seems to be also plays a very large part of it. Again, the heart and the soul of the game to me is just gone. Like it just is. It's more about yeah, at the end of the day, you want a ring, but also like some of these dudes is flashing all over social media, and I'm like, maybe you should take the emotion and time into this. Go practice.
Oh,
So
you know what? Let me
year.
stop. I forgot. I was going to chime in, and then I saw a vampire, which was why I had to turn it off. But I was going to chime in earlier. Sorry. Watch the Pivot podcast with Draymond Green, and he'll talk to you, and he'll talk about the ring culture that you were talking about with LeBron. And he had a really good perspective on that. And that just, you made me think about it, Qiana, when you were saying about the social media and stuff, because he kind of talked about that a little bit. So, yeah. Sorry, guys.
What was the highlight of what he said?
He said he understood what LeBron was saying. He just said that he thinks that he said it wrong. So then he went into a whole thing about how I guess how you said the kids will call somebody a bum if they don't have a ring. Mm-hmm. And he was saying it's not about that. It's about being the best player that you can be. Then he did make the point that you made, James, about Charles Barkley and all those people who don't have rings, but they're amazing. And he was just saying he feels like LeBron didn't articulate it as well as he should have. So he agreed with him, but then didn't agree with him at the same time.
Well, LeBron shouldn't have said anything.
Because he started this
LeBron,
shit.
But anyway, let's go on. We was talking about WNBA. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to the audience.
Let's switch over to WNBA stuff, which is pretty much where we're going to spend the rest of this show because stuff has happened. As Candaysee pretty much already alluded to, Angel Reese is named the cover athlete of 2K26 for the WNBA edition of the game. Carmelo Anthony is the cover athlete of the Superstar edition, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the default cover athlete for 2K26.
As he should.
So, congratulations to Angel Reese for 100%. That.
I don't play 2K on the regular, but this one I'm gonna look and try and get the physical copy just to actually get the box.
That part, yeah, because I want the Angel Reese cover.
Yep.
And you know she just came out with her shoe too, with Reebok.
I saw that. Yeah. Now, I wonder if they're going to make them in men's sizes.
Are Asia Wilson's in men's sizes too?
I don't know.
I do not know.
Because I feel like some of the guys.
She's got a second version of the A1s now that she wore last night.
Some of the guys in the WNBA, I think, were wearing her shoes to support her. So I don't know. I thought she had men and women's shoes. But you never know. I mean, her feet are probably big enough for some, so she's tall. I know she's not a size, 6 like me.
Hell, now that you say that, that's a good point because my shoe size might just fall into she's tall and it'll fit me.
Yeah, because men's shoe sizes are different than ladies. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's not the only thing Angel Reese was in the news for since the last time we chatted.
They're always trying to put her in
because
are you talking about the triplet pop?
Nope. Oh. Talking about this.
The me bounds. That was just
the me bounds. So for those who don't know, me bounds is a term that the trolls on the internet are using to pretty much say Angel Reese gets all her rebounds off her own misses. That is the term they came up with.
Okay.
Joke's on you, assholes. You just gave her something to trademark, which she's done. And she's already released a clothing line for it.
Wait, the trademark got approved?
Yes, the trademark got approved. She's got a clothing line for me bounds.
Jesus Christ.
So congratulations for giving Angel Reese another stream of revenue income.
Angel, if you're watching this, first and foremost, we love you. Are you hiring?
And please include some men's stuff, please.
Girl.
Please.
You know what? First of all, I don't want to hear that because.
But first of all, hold up. Before we get into all the jokes and stuff, here's the kicker. With them saying that, they're wrong because Angel Reese leads the league in rebounds, first and foremost, and it's not close. She is also currently the career active leader in rebounds per game. It's not close. And even if you take away the rebounds she gets off her own misses, which is like 1, maybe 2 per game this season, she's still leading the league in rebounds.
Right.
Just hate that girl for no reason.
I told you, stay off of social media.
Just
They make you mad. They make you real mad.
But this is why I go on social media, so I can find stuff like this for us to talk, because I miss things sometimes. I can't just go on ESPN and be like, because this is not a story that shows up on ESPN. I found this on Twitter. I'm like, wait, they harassing her again? Damn it, now what? Find, dig, read the story. Me bounds. Really?
So James just wants to be
5 minutes later. She
You want
trademarked.
to be mad all day long.
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
he does.
I really don't.
Just all day. Like he be
Just all
scrolling.
Do it again.
When's your happy place? When you're
Where's
not
my
on
happy
social
place?
media?
Video games. That's why I shoot stuff.
When you're not on social media?
I mean, watching anime, new seasons
Okay.
of the show started today,
Oh.
I'll tell you about that later.
I'm excited about I'm excited about all of her success. I think for me, I'm
Absolutely.
just tired of hearing, and as much as I love her, I'm just tired of hearing her name and Caitlin's
too.
name. And, I'm like, there's all these other people that are doing such good stuff.
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
just tired of hearing those two names.
It's
Like,
a constant
okay.
focus on the negative. Like, damn,
Right.
the way they act about it, you'd have thought the 30 for 30 had already aired.
Right.
Like, what the hell? Stop trying to create like this rival of all time. It's just
Right.
it's getting old now. The narrative is just getting really old. It's
It
dry. Angel can keep on making all the money she can. I
Right.
have no problem
But
with
my
it.
thing is,
I
let
get
them
it.
let everybody eat. I don't care. Let
Yeah.
Caitlin eat, let whatever. Like I don't hate the girl either.
There's
I'm just
enough
tired of hearing her
room.
name.
There's enough for everybody.
Right. I'm just tired of hearing.
I think that also there are still people, and I'm not going to put a gender on it or whatever. They're just people that want this league to bomb and fail, and they're just looking for something and a reason to be like, well, I'm not going to watch that, and I'm not. Oh, they're not playing ball the way they need. You get your badly built ass out there on the court and you play some ball against women, whoever it may be.
Did you say
And-
badly built though?
She
Badly
did.
She did.
built ass BBA instead of BBL. I'm sick.
I'll tell you the truth right now. When I want to watch professional basketball, when I want to watch basketball, period, I'm watching women's college ball. I'm watching the WNBA. I'm not watching men's college, and I'm not watching the NBA at all. I'm being real.
Let's be very clear. The last however many years, whose Final Four has been more exciting?
The women.
The women's.
Women's.
Just had this conversation yesterday with somebody. They were like, "Would you rather
What'd they
watch?"
say?
They said, "Would you rather watch WNBA or a baseball
Mhm.
game?" I said, "Well, as much as I love baseball, I said I would love to. I said I'd rather watch WNBA." And they were like,
Yeah.
"Absolutely not. I would never want to watch women's sport." And I was like, "You don't." I said, "You know what?" I was like, "You don't watch any college basketball, do you?" He was like, "No." I said, "That's why." He talked about he want to see the fire and all. He want to see the hype. And I was like, "So you don't watch college ball?" And I said, "That's the reason why you don't watch women's ball, because women's ball is fundamentals and back to the basics. And if you enjoy sports like that, then you're
Exactly.
gonna like watching
He only looking for the
Exactly.
highlights, and that's why we have the warped viewpoint of the NBA that we have now, because the
Mhm.
attention span, as they say, is so small that they only want to look at their phone and see a highlight of somebody dunking and shooting a three.
Yep.
Which is why
That's
the
the
NBA
truth.
is pretty much falling apart. One of the reasons.
Falling
There's a
apart.
litany of reasons. But anyway, focusing back on the WNBA. Did y'all have a chance to watch the video I posted from Jamel Hill? As
No,
far as
I
the
Oh, I had
voting?
already seen it.
Yeah, I
Yep.
didn't get to see it.
So the voting for the WNBA All-Star game came out as far as who finished where and how starters were selected and everything. And Dick Vitale pretty much ripped the players for ranking Caitlin Clark 9th, while the fans, surprise, overwhelmingly voted her first.
Well, ninth in guards.
Amongst guards, excuse me. I have to say that amongst guards, not all players, amongst guards.
Okay.
So Jamel Hill, if you're not familiar, I should highly suggest you follow her and her channels, politics.
I just didn't get to watch the video.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like you. I know you all, but I'm talking about our audience who may be watching. Like, follow her, watch the video. She breaks down the short version of the players did not rank Caitlin Clark ninth. She fell ninth in the voting because they could only vote for 4 players. And at the time that their ballots were due to be turned in, Caitlin had already missed half of the game. She's missed 7 games already this season. 7. Teams have pretty much only played about 21 games. So at this point, she's missed a third of the season. Right? So they're voting for the top 4 guards. And yeah, on some of their ballots, they want to leave Caitlin off because she hasn't played that much up to this point. Not only that, she hasn't been playing as well as she did her rookie year. What's the one thing we always say about rookies when they come into a new league? Year 1, you catch everybody off guard. Year 2, there's tape.
Is that the sophomore slump?
Oh, it's not a sophomore slump. She has been bodied 94 feet from the time she gets the ball in the inbound. They are carrying her up the court this year.
They finally figured out what a lot of people knew in college. Anytime you play her physical, she's not as good.
Nope.
She's a liability on defense. She always likes to drift left, and she is not a physical player. She does not like contact. So, since the rules on this level are a little loose, you can body a player, literally have your body up on her as long as you're not initiating contact, and body her 94 feet, which is what every team has been doing this season. So she's not had room to do anything. Matter of fact, Furies, when we did the show last month, that night, the Indiana Fever had a game. She got caught up in a little dust up, if you will, because somebody was bodying her at the 3-point line, not giving her space to cross over and go left like she wants to do. So one of her teammates came over and set a pick, and it kind of blindsided her defender. A foul was called because she also reached in trying to get through the pick and hit Caitlin. Not hard or anything, but other players came. You know, the players on the court pretty much got each other's faces, and one of the defenders' teammates pretty much ran in there and pushed Caitlin Clark to the floor.
Sure did. That was a good game, too.
You got knocked the fuck out.
And Indiana Fever coach.
And later on, before you finish, Candaysee, and later on in that game, in the fourth quarter, when the game was pretty much already out of doubt because Indiana was up like 12 points, one of the bench players of the Indiana Fever hog-tied and clotheslined the girl who pushed Caitlin to the floor, which results in her getting ejected from the game. It's like you went to the fourth quarter to do this.
Somebody want to watch basketball to see the fire? How much more fire is that?
That part.
Right.
Sir, ma'am. Whoever.
It was a guy anyway, because you know how guys are.
Okay, well, tell that guy I said he's dumb.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can put my name on it. You tell him I said that.
You sign my name to it as well. Oh wait, hold on. Wait, to make it even better, do I know this person? Candaysee?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's too bad.
Furious State, his hands is ready to eat for everybody, and I'm ready to fight. But that dude is dumb. Yeah, I'm on it too. Put my name on the card.
Look, he was just his opinion. But you know, I always feel like everybody has their own opinion. It's cool. So
I mean, yeah, like everybody has assholes.
Like that's why I asked the questions, and I was like, okay, I mean, I understand your logic, and I'm with it. Like that's your logic.
Really logic though?
That's not logic.
Is that logic?
It's okay if he sits on his brain. We know he's not using it.
Some people like what they like. Like everybody likes what they like.
But is that logic?
That's not logic. You can like what you like, but it don't make no sense.
Because see, why did he have to purposely go out there and make a comparison between Major League Baseball and the WNBA? Why would you make that comparison as far as what would you rather watch? Why not say Major League Baseball versus the NBA? They're both men's sports.
It sounds to me like it's a gender issue. Like he just doesn't want to support women's sports.
Mm-hmm. He's a hater.
It's cool. It's cool. But when Asia Wilson's fluing me out.
Asia ain't flowing you out.
You shut up and let me have my dream. Asia.
She's not flying you out.
Please fly this man out, please.
I know, please. Dear Asia,
Asia,
please come to Atlanta, beat the dream.
Yes,
and then
come
take
to
James
Atlanta.
out.
Don't go out to where James lives. Come to Atlanta. I live in Atlanta. I got school. Yeah, come on down. James does not live in Atlanta.
Yes, I do.
And when
Actually, I
you
do. My address is in
And when
Atlanta.
you come, just bring a pair of sneakers in a size 6 women's. Thanks. Appreciate you. Hopefully you make a purple pair. I know you got pink right now, but if you get a purple pair, that I would like that.
Oh gosh, but yeah, if you haven't seen the voting results of the WNBA All-Star Game, I highly suggest you check that out to see where the fan rank is votes happened, the media rank, and the player rank. It is very, very interesting. I'll just give this real quick. Paige Beckers finished number 2 in the fan rank, 5 in the media, 4 in the player. Caitlin Clark, 1 in the fan, 3 in media, 9 amongst players. Sabrina Ionescu was 5 in the fan rank, 2 in the media rank, 2 in the player rank. Alicia Gray of the Atlanta Dream, 7 in the fan rank, player and media rank, 1.
oh,
That's because she's awesome.
wow.
Oh, I know Alicia Gray is awesome. Anybody who watched the game knows Alicia Gray is awesome.
Mhm.
Problem is the fans, and we know which fans, we don't have to say which fans, who were voting overwhelmingly did not want to put a certain caliber of player in there. They pretty much voted for Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark.
I kind of like Paige though.
I like Paige. I
Oh,
do.
yeah, we love Paige.
But I know what you're saying. I get it.
On the front court side, center and forwards, Nafisa Collier finished 1st in fan rank, 2 in media and player. Asia Wilson finished 3rd in fan rank, 1st in media and player. Brianna Stewart was 4 across the board in all 3 categories. Aaliyah Boston was 2nd in fan rank, 9th in player and media. Nneka Ogwumike was 9th in fan vote, 3rd in player and media. And Sato Sabali was 8th in fan rank, 5th in both player and media vote. So to say the fans aren't watching the game for certain things is an understatement, because there should not be this much of a discrepancy in players' rankings in these 3 categories, because lopsided is an understatement. But again, the All-Star game is next Friday in Indiana. So
Oh God.
there is that. By the way, Angel Reese, who missed out on being a starter, finished 5th in fan rank, but 12th amongst player and media vote, which I don't understand, because I've seen 5 Chicago games so far this season, and she is much better than she was last year as a rookie.
But then again, James, go back to what Jamel said about how the voting works.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying I'm not talking about the composite score. I get how the composite score, but I'm talking about the ranking of where she fell as far as front court players. 12th by both the media and the players. That's kind of low.
But again, remember what she said. The players.
No, again, I'm not talking about the composite score. I'm talking about where her rank is.
Oh.
So to be left off, and again, I get it. They're voting for the top 6 as far as, because it was top 4 for guards, it's top 6 for front court. But for her to fall that low, that she wasn't on more players' top 6 as far as the players and the media. Yeah, I got questions.
But again, with what Jamel said, there is a player opinion component to it.
That is fair. They ain't watching what I'm watching. Because honestly, if I had to choose between Sato Sabali and Angel Reese as being a starter, I choose Angel Reese. That's just me.
But you haven't played against them.
Right. Remember, that's one of the things that Jamel said.
That is fair. But
players know what they're looking at more so than the average. And I know you're not the average fan, but again, the players clearly see some things that fans don't.
Right.
That is fair.
And I mean, they just thought that somebody was just better than her. And I mean, you have to pick 6. And so she still got on the team. She's just not a starter, right?
She's still,
So I mean, they still thought she was good enough to be on the team. She's just not a starter. And I mean, at the end of the day, she's still going to play. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I still want her to be a starter.
I know. We already know how biased you are on that one. So
I'm not biased. Again, I've seen the number of games.
You aren't?
There's a little
minute.
Look, I want you to understand that both rookies for the Washington Mystics made the All-Star team. I did not vote for either one of them. So I can't, and this is a team I root for. So
we already know why.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about? I voted for the best players from what I've seen this season, and I've seen the number of
word for James. Who gonna fly me out?
Right. See? Now one of those rookies might fly you out.
I don't want to go to Indiana though. I don't want to go to Indiana. We can scrap that. I don't need to go to Indiana. I can stay here.
You sure don't. Mm-mm.
But oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank here? Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier were the top 2 vote getters, so they were team captains. There is no East-West format this year. It is Team Clark versus Team Collier. And last night they had a draft to pick amongst the starters and the reserves for their respective all-star teams. Team Clark is going to have Aaliyah Boston, Sabrina Ionescu, Asia Wilson, Sato Sabali, Kelsey Mitchell, Gabby Williams, Sonia Critton, Kiki Ifrin, Jackie Young, and Kayla Thornton.
Oh, man. Now I can't even vote. I can't even root for them. Go ahead.
Team Collier is going to have Brianna Stewart, Alicia Gray, Nneka Ogumake, Paige Beckers, Courtney Williams, Skylar Diggins, Angel Reese, Alyssa Thomas, Kelsey Plum, and Ryan Howard. In case you're wondering, the only pair of teammates that were split up were the New York teammates. Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu split up. They're on opposite teams. And who was the other pair? Seattle teammates Gabby Williams and Skylar Diggins on opposite teams. Other than that, all other pairs of teammates, pairs or trios of teammates are all on the same team. So all the Aces players are on one team, all the Fever players on a team, both Washington players on the same team.
Yep.
Both Atlanta players are on the same team.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only split. The New York Liberty players and the Seattle Storm players were split on one on each team. And to make this even more interesting, the Lynx head coach, Cheryl Reeves, she is going to be coaching Team Clark, not Team Collier. Because the top coach coaches the team of the top vote getter, which was Clark. And the second place team was not the Liberty. It was, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on who the second place team was. But she's coaching Team Collier. And no, it wasn't Indiana either. So don't worry about that. But yeah, these are going to be some interesting pairings next Friday. Candaysee's beside herself because now she can't root for a team.
I was always going to root against Caitlin Clark's team. So even if both of my players were on her team.
Oh my gosh. Really? That's
James and Cheryl Reeve.
Cheryl Reeve is coaching Team Clark, the other team. Who's the other coach?
No, Collier is.
No, Cheryl Reeve is coaching Team Clark.
You sure about that?
Unless they switched something recently.
Because what I'm looking at right now says Cheryl Reeve is doing Collier and Brondello of the Liberty will be coaching Team
Okay, so
Clark.
Liberty did get the second. Okay.
Yeah.
So they must have switched last night during the draft process because they did they did the draft before last night's game between the Liberty and the Aces. And get well soon, Asia Wilson, because she took a nasty fall early in that game. It was not pretty.
Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right, because the other link that I just saw now says Collier. It says Clark Collier draft all-star teams flip coaches. So yeah, it was
okay. So they did flip coaches, yeah, because initially Reeve was going to coach Team Clark.
Yeah.
So they did something last night to flip the coaches back so Reeve can coach Team Collier.
Yeah.
So
either way, I'm going to be excited.
Yeah,
you're so excited. You look conflicted right now.
So sad.
This is excited.
Like
no, this is me fading. Sorry. This is me fading.
Oh my gosh. Is it past your bedtime? Are we keeping you up late?
It is getting past it.
Oh my gosh. Any comments or thoughts on the All-Star game selection process or rosters? Anything?
I'm just looking forward to watching.
Me too.
Go Atlanta Dream.
Go Atlanta Dream, Furious.
Yep, pretty much.
So you'll be rooting for Team Collier because that's where they ended up.
Oh yeah.
All right. I like Ryan Howard though.
What you say, Candaysee?
Anything else?
I like Ryan Howard.
You like Ryan Howard? Yeah, Ryan Howard is a beast. She is a beast.
Hmm.
All right. Anything else we want to get into before we get out of here? In case anybody did the homework, which I know y'all didn't.
What's coming up next? What? I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Where we talk about
consistently never prepared.
I am glad I always prepare to have things to discuss at length because
I wrote down X Games in Wimbledon, but I don't remember why. Oh, Wimbledon was because most of the top players actually didn't make it past the first round.
Yeah, Coco got knocked out in the first round. I was shocked. She actually withdrew.
A lot of them got.
Yeah, Coco withdrew in the first round. Her opening match in the second set, she didn't finish it.
Yeah, so that one, and then I forgot what it was about the X Games I wanted to talk. I just wrote it down. I don't remember what it was. Sorry.
Okay.
I have
Coco
one
was still riding high. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Q.
No, it's okay. No, I love Coco. I don't understand I'm disappointed that she got knocked out. I mean, she's 19. Like, come on. She just came off the French Open. She's gonna I don't know. Anyway.
Well, see, that's what I was gonna say is she's still riding that high from the winning the French Open, and her head just isn't in the game right now.
No.
She's 21, but yes, still.
Once all the excitement is out of her system and she's back to playing her regular game, she'll be kicking ass again.
Exactly.
But it wasn't just her though. It was a lot of the top people that actually didn't make it through. So I don't.
That's true.
So it wasn't just that part. It was just, it's always the I don't want to say the luck of the draw, but
it is.
You never know in tennis and golf. I feel like those are the two ones that you just never know who's going to rise out the ashes.
So speaking of golf, okay, don't judge me. I don't know anything about golf. Like I know Tiger Woods and a few other players. So I volunteer for a lot of events through the Dallas Sports Commission, and I signed up for a golf tournament. I just signed up blindly or whatever. Okay, I'll get there. Now, what are like the pro leagues in golf? PGA and what else?
That's it. It's just PGA because PGA absorbed LIV last year.
So I was volunteering at LIV and didn't even realize it.
Yeah, LIV is now part of the PGA because the PGA absorbed LIV.
So LIV is not. I do remember when all that controversy occurred about the Saudi Arabian or the Middle Eastern.
Yeah, it's their league.
That's their league. Okay, so I have never been to a golf tournament before in my life. I would do it again. It was hot as hell, but it was absolutely no, y'all. I was like, wait, I got to get my life together. I can't go to hell. This is woo. It was hot. But I enjoyed myself because I really got into just like everything. And it was just fascinating how people were just literally following, certain players, because there's a guy, I don't remember his name, but he's from the Dallas area, a real young kid. He's kind of up there in the pros, but following everybody on the different holes. So I was originally asked to drive a golf cart. And I was like, oh, no, you don't want me to do that. Nope. Hell and no. There'll be dead bodies. No, you want me to, and it wasn't, we talked, so the lady I was partnered with, what we were doing is we were going out on the golf course, like volunteers that were actually out there. We were bringing them snacks, taking people around, transporting them, everything. So it was just a really good experience to learn more about the game. I was a little fascinated with how many people was out there getting drunk on the golf course in 100-degree heat. Why? Why are we doing this? But hey,
It's what they
I
do now.
digress. That's
But
why
why
we had to
not
keep.
though? Why not? That's the only
Well,
thing that they do.
well, friend, we had to keep taking people to the first aid stations, and people had to get. I said,
Fluids.
now why did you drink 2 32-ounce margaritas?
Ooh.
I was just trying to.
I mean, I would have had water too in between, but I still would have drank both of those margaritas.
no.
Yeah.
The only water was in the ice in the margarita.
No, you need a little bit more water than that.
Nah, I would have needed more water than that.
Absolutely, but also you needed electrolytes. You needed Gatorade, and so I think there's a couple of other tournaments that are coming up. I don't think I'm a volunteer because again with the heat, but I might get a group of ladies together to go watch. We might find husbands. That's not the point. The point
If you find me a sugar mama,
Not
let me know.
husbands.
you want to get flued out to Dallas?
If you find me a sugar mama, sure.
Okay. I got you. So I just wanted to share that great experience. Like I said, I really enjoyed myself.
That's going to be my quote on my post of this. I'm going to be like, you know what? I might just get a couple of ladies together so we can go find husbands.
Yeah. Make new friends.
Not make new friends.
Most of the men out there already have wives. That's why they out on the golf course.
Well, never mind.
I can't.
Oh, Lord.
Sorry.
Furious, what you got this month?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I help you out by watching Quarterback season 2? So
I am gonna watch Quarterback. Because right now I'm watching Lazarus, but as soon as Lazarus is done, I'm watching Quarterback.
Okay. Yeah. Q, that's all you missed earlier in the show was my recap of season 2 of Quarterback because Kirk Cousins is back on it.
Okay, I gotta go. Oh, I'm sorry. I did have one more thing. Listen, y'all know I can't stand the Dallas Cowboys.
No one on this show can stand the Dallas Cowboys.
No, I know, but I just had to say it with my chest.
Okay. We appreciate that, though. I am with you in the hate.
Organization really should be embarrassed because they have increased the pay for the cheerleaders. So I'll just give a disclaimer because I know there's somebody watching. You don't need cheerleaders. That's stupid. That's not real. Coming from a former dancer and cheerleader, that shit is not easy. Once again, you get your badly built ass out there and you do it. So that pisses me off and irritates me. But the fact that their pay increase is 400% lets you know just how little they were making to begin with.
Yeah, because they had a second season drop early in the summer as well.
There are girls on there talking about, I had an eviction notice on my door because while you can have a full-time job, the commitment to do this, and I get it, they willingly sign up for it, is another full-time job. Yep. So if I'm putting in the hours, you should compensate me. And they are the most popular cheerleaders, regardless of what sport that it is. And as much money, the cheerleaders are more popular than the team at this point.
Yes, they are.
It's not even a running joke.
Have been for the last 30 years.
Netflix, I mean, it's just gone absolutely insane. So they really should be embarrassed by how they've treated those women. Girl, don't tell all my secrets. But that's it. I just wanted to say that just because someone is doing something like dance or gym, if it's just because it's a sport you don't happen to like, you shouldn't discredit people. Athletes are athletes.
True.
And those jump splits, there are some of those girls that are not even 30 and they have had to have hip replacements.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's funny because, again, because I remember I said this to some folks on the podcast when I was doing NFL podcasts once upon a time. The cheerleaders for your respective football teams, especially, are not. They are paid contractors, right? And they are not run by the team. That's the thing people fail to realize. Like, the Dallas Cowboys don't run the Dallas Cowgirl cheerleader squad. they operate under the Cowboys. Someone is appointed to them, but the Cowboys do not have direct, or unless it's, again, those commitments like a photo shoot or children's hospital thing, or this thing where we're going to have a player come out and do cutting of the ribbon and stuff like that, whatnot. And every team operates like that. So they're independent contractors of the team. The team does not employ them, if you will. And so, yeah, those contracts, they're not getting paid anything. That's league wide. I shouldn't say they're not getting paid anything. I'm pretty sure some teams take care of the cheerleaders better than others. Unlike the Washington football team, which, you know,
that shit was ridiculous.
Sexual harassment, sexual assault.
Let's take it one step further. Telling them to show up at this location at this airport or else, getting them on a plane, taking their passports, flying them to another country, and then not letting them leave.
What were they trying to pimp them out? I'm not even trying to be funny. Okay.
There was no trying. They were pimping them out.
Wow.
Spend time with this VIP or you're not going back to America. Yes. Washington did that. Yes.
Disgusting.
And now, mind you, that, of course, that was all under Snyder because he was the ringleader. Yeah.
Trash. So that's my little rant.
Yeah. The Saints did some heinous stuff as well.
Of course. Just can't win at nothing. Dancers, cheerleaders, life games, nothing. I gotta fix my team. Anyway. I give up. But that was my last thing. Thank you all for letting me get that off my chest.
You are very welcome. Does anybody else have anything that they want to drop before we get out of here for the evening? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. We will see y'all next month when NFL training camps will be in full swing. So I'm pretty sure everybody here will have something to complain about with their squad.
Yep. Hopefully Shedeur won't be in the car going 100 in the 60 miles per hour. I'm going to be quiet. Y'all, good night.
Well, I mean, you know, he was supposed to have been going 25, but I don't know.
Get to the couch, Qiana.
Turn the TV down.
Mind you, that was his second speeding ticket. Yeah, he's got two.
Got a pattern of behavior. Okay.
I mean, again, somebody said under there, hey, at one point he was supposed to have been going 25 and went 144.
Yeah, that was the first one.
No. No, that was the joke about his draft spot.
Well, yeah.
No, because what happened was when he got that speeding ticket, I forget what the speed was and what the I forget what the speed limit versus what they got him for. But then their comment was, well, hey, remember he was supposed to have been going 25, but he went 144.
I don't want to laugh, but God damn it, that's funny.
That is hilarious. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, we live in a cruel world. Oh well. Come in. I need entertainment.
The internet is undefeated. The internet stays undefeated.
They do not care about your feelings.
Feelings? What are those?
I feel feelings.
I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration? That's how the internet feels about your feelings.
Say, James, don't go down a rabbit hole after we end this episode. Stay.
I almost definitely will. Not on purpose, by accident.
Just a walking red flag.
He just wants to be angry all the time.
I'm just saying, if you want to talk ish about my team, at least talk proper ish about my team. Like, say something that's actually true.
So he wants logic.
Qiana, you know that you just started him all over again.
I'm sorry.
Don't say silly things like, you got a stacked roster. Well, your GM
Let me go get on Asia's Instagram. Please fly this man out. Shit.
That's my advice for all the other fan bases. Yell at your GM. Your GM is trash. You can't have a stacked roster like I do. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
everybody.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.